Thank you for coming back and joining us with the ASTV Sports Show here in Tavern United on Pembina Highway. Joining me now are three lovely ladies. We're missing one, but she's got an exam apparently, correct?
Yeah, she's in classes.
She's
right
in
now,
classes,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So who do we have with us from Team Zacharias?
So I'm Carly Burgess, and I'm the third, and I'm actually from Nova Scotia.
Very good.
I'm Mackenzie Zacharias, and I play skip on the team.
I'm Emily Zacharias, and I play second, and we're both actually originally from Altona.
So we have the two, are you sisters?
We are, yeah.
So that's the reason why the name is named after you. Plus you're the skip, right?
It's actually named after the skip. Whoever plays skip then gets it named after them.
All right,
Yeah.
so that's skip. So we represent Altona, we represent Nova Scotia. Who's the missing fourth?
Lauren Lenentine, and she's actually from PEI.
So we have a PEI, we have a Nova Scotia, and two Altonas.
Yeah.
How did all four of you meet?
Actually, last year at Nationals, all of us were participating at Nationals. Two of us from Nova Scotia, and then from Manitoba. And Lauren and I were both looking for a team for the next year for my last junior year. So I kind of reached out to the girls up here, and we both made our way here to curl with them. So yeah.
Are you two okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely okay with that. They're pretty good. So.
They're pretty good. The standings this early in the season prove that as well. Sitting atop of the MJCT, which stands for the Manitoba Junior Curling Tour.
Yeah.
Tell us how that works through the course of this season for you.
So how that works, it actually starts in like January or February of last year, and from then on until about November, we can accumulate points through playing in different events. And the top 10 teams that have the highest points after that all get to play in end of the year Bonspiel. That's worth just a lot of money, and it's worth a berth spot as well.
So it's a calendar year, not a school year.
Yeah.
Okay, so started last January. You're sitting atop. How many more events do we have before this season closes out?
We're actually just getting started. Like, hopefully we can continue until April would be the goal. But we have provincials in December, and then if we are successful, we have nationals in January. And if we are successful there, we can continue on. But right now, we're just kind of taking it one weekend at a time because it's still kind of early for us.
That's such a professional answer, just taking it 1 week at a time. The good Lord willing, things will work out. They worked out very well for all four of you. Down in Grand Forks, unbeaten, correct?
Yeah.
All the way to the final. How was that trip for you? One day we had two games, and then semifinals and finals, right?
Yeah.
So who did you face in the finals, and was that nerve-wracking for you, or were you all ready for it?
I mean, we played Grace Beaudry in the final, and we'd played them actually already once in the season, so we knew how to go at them, and we'd studied, their mechanics and how to play them, and so we felt really prepared going into the final, and we just played to our abilities, and it worked out really well.
So what was the final score?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. It's a victory.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was,
So how many points do you get for the victory of the whole tournament? Do you know?
I don't know. It changes for every event depending on how many teams there are. So, yeah, I'm not exactly
It was
sure.
enough to put us on top.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a little bit interesting because, I mean, you look at the MJCT and how the points work and how you just got to win, right?
Yeah.
If you just got to win out, the more win outs you have, the chances of you being on top is going to be pretty favorable, right?
Yeah.
I have to ask all three of you, how did you start curling? I mean, why curling? Like, it's a great sport, don't get me wrong. I love watching it. I love doing a lot of other things while I watch curling. But why curling for the three of you?
For me, I guess it started just with my family. My great-great-grandfather actually started in the family, and everyone in the family continued to grow and become in the sport. So, yeah, my parents curled, my brother curled, my grandparents curled, so it was in my blood, I guess.
For yourself, ladies?
For me, I don't, probably the same for
Yeah,
you.
same.
Where like our grandpa was really into curling, and my dad as well, and they kind of like started us off as soon as they could, as soon as we were old enough for the junior program, and just we really enjoyed it, and just kept going from there.
Yeah, and our dad actually, he was the head of the curling program, the junior program in Altona, so then he kind of took us with him, and we just went with him and curled.
It just seemed natural
Yeah.
to put on a slider, put on some funky shoes, throw the corn broom aside and grab a real one, and start curling, right?
Yeah.
See, when I started, I remember corn brooms and the infamous, you can't use them on the ice because they take the pebble away or they leave debris on the ice, so no corn brooms are allowed, right?
Just for sliding now.
Just for sliding now. Okay, so what type of brooms are used otherwise?
Well, we use all like synthetic carbon fiber brooms that we get from our sponsors, Asham Curling, and they're really nice and they work really well.
Fabulous. So how has the sport evolved since you started? Like, let's talk about that, because a lot of rules have changed. We'll get to that later, but for yourselves, ladies, how has the sport changed from when you started to where you are today?
There's so much that has changed. Like, I've been curling for about 13 years now, and it's just so much more competitive. There's so many more rules. Like, I know that the broom was such an issue a few years ago about it causing to not curl or whatnot. So it's really become more competitive, and a lot more money has gotten into the sport that way too. But yeah,
like change in shots, change in strategy, the development of the tick shot,
the 5-rock rule.
Okay, so let's talk about the tick shot. What's a tick shot?
So a tick shot is when you have a rock in the free guard zone, so above the rings, and since you can't peel yet with the rocks, so a way to remove it from the center line to open up your scoring space would be to play a soft weight shot to tick it off to the corners.
So it's like a bump and run, but it still stays in play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't remove that stone.
You can't remove that stone. Which leads me to my next question. Is there a certain number of rocks that need to be left in play through each end?
Yeah, so it used to be the 4-rock rule, and now there's the 5-rock rule. So the first 5 rocks of the game, or the end, every end, if they're in the free guard zone, you can't touch them until after the 5th rock.
So what if they're inside the 8-foot? Can you move them?
Then they're completely fine, yeah.
Okay, so I got to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got the tick shot, we got the 5-rock rule. How many ends do we play? 6, 8?
Usually 8.
Okay.
But for provincial and national events, it's usually around 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if it's tied, you go to extra ends, of course.
Right.
Do you have a shoot off if it goes after that, or no?
No, it's just extra ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you decide who is the hammer in the first end?
Usually there's like a pre-game practice, and you do it at the end of the practice. You do a draw to the button, and whoever's closest gets hammer in the first end. But if there's no pre-game practice, then it's just a flip of the coin.
Okay, would you rather have the shoot off, or would you rather have the flip?
Oh, pre-game practice.
Shoot off. So all three of you are pretty good at finding the button?
Well, she always does it,
Yeah.
so we rely on her, but she's pretty good.
That's fantastic to have. Very good props to the skip there, absolutely. It's always difficult. Do you find on different surfaces? I mean, you have to practice a lot. The game has evolved so much. I mean, you talk about following strategy and watching the other teams play and managing what the ice does for you. I mean, if you're like a sheet 4 on an 8-foot on 8 sheets, or sheet 1, does the rock actually move that much different on each sheet for you when you're playing, or do you know what that rink is going to do for you? How do you test that?
Yeah, it usually is a lot of trial and error, especially when we don't know the rink. And especially at the beginning of the game too, often it's frosty at the beginning, so you have to throw a couple of rocks down each path to get it like up to speed and faster. And some ice rinks, they curl a little bit more, and some curl a bit less, and it can actually change based on the sheet too. So there's like different paths on the ice, and you just gotta try to remember what's what.
And even lately, like the weather can have a lot of impact on the ice as well. It's been really humid, so that has an effect. And day to day, it's different, and every rink is different as well.
I mean, humidity you mentioned for sure. Weather, number 2. If you're first on the ice at 8 a.m. and you're the last one to play at 6, there's a lot more rocks, there's a lot more brooms, a lot more feet going on it. Would you rather play first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening?
I mean, it depends on when the ice has been scraped, because when they do a total rescrape, then the ice is usually pretty good. So it depends on how far you are from the time they've done that.
Yeah.
If it's a few draws after they've done that, then it's pretty bad. But if it's right after they've done that, then it's usually really good.
Right.
So I know that Skip gets the last 2 rocks. There's got to be build up before that. So I have to ask all 3 of you, do you remember like your best shot from this past weekend in Grand Forks? And can you explain it perhaps? I mean, like there's a bump run, there's a double takeout, do you remember like do you remember a shot?
Nice run.
Probably. Carly can throw a lot of weight.
Carly likes throwing okay. So it's like a second hammer, but not the end of the...
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It clears the house pretty nice. But there was this one game, I think we were down a couple points, and we had an out-turn angle run back for 3. And Lauren called the right line, because she's the one who calls the line when I throw, and the girls swept it really good, and we were able to make it. So that's pretty
awesome.
exciting.
See, that's exciting. That's what I like to hear.
That
Like,
was exciting.
how did that? What did you say? East eye right triple slot. What was that shot again? Double takeout.
It was an angle run back for 3.
Angle run back for 3.
Run
Out
back
turn with no slips. We're good.
No slips.
Awesome. Who has the loudest voice of the 4 of you?
I think you would.
but
Well, yeah.
I yell the most.
You yell the most.
Yeah.
You direct traffic. You got to let people know what's going on
Yeah.
and help explain to your teammates. Now, does it hurt your feelings when she yells really loud?
Yeah.
As
no,
a sister?
I'm kidding. No, not at all. It's good when she yells at me.
Okay, so you take that as constructive criticism
For sure.
to get to the victory after the ends.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever clearly missed a shot with all the weight and just said, oops, I just missed that one?
Yeah, that happens.
It happens once in a while, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of my shuffleboard days, and I've done that a couple times. I'm like, yeah, thank God I've got a second rock to play with. But ladies, you guys are pretty on point, especially with how you did in Grand Forks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did they give you any hardware or anything like that?
You got some cash.
Yeah.
Got some cash.
That's good.
Cash is king. Cash equals hardware, okay.
Yeah.
So what's the next tournament for the four of you?
This next weekend we have another MJCT.
Okay.
It's in St. Vital, and it's for provincial berth, and there's a little bit of money on the line as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're all set for that. Any practice beforehand?
Yeah, for sure. We were on the ice today, a few hours ago practicing,
Okay.
and then tomorrow again.
And Wednesday.
Wednesday
Yeah.
again.
So where is your home rink then? Is it in Altona or is it in Winnipeg?
It is, but lately we've been practicing at the Granite because nobody else really has that much ice right now.
Yeah.
So after September though, we'll see where we can find ice in Winnipeg and then also occasionally practice in Altona.
Awesome. So I'm going to leave you one last question. Student athletes, managing the athletic portion and then the academics, how have you been able to do that so well and excelling in both?
Yeah, so I'm in my fourth year university now. I'm a kinesiology student, so I've been curling really competitively and doing school as well. I've been a full-time student the whole time, and I really agree with that. And I really believe in the balance of sport and athletic and school. I guess it just gets me to do something outside of school as well. A little stress reliever, and I get to have some fun with the girls. So I really enjoy it.
And ladies, what grade year are you in for university?
Yeah, I'm in my third year of kinesiology. You'll notice that we're almost all in kinesiology except for Lauren, but yeah, it's been tough sometimes, but it's also really good, and I really enjoy it. And with curling, I feel like it balances itself out pretty nicely.
So you kinesiology as well?
I'm in kinesiology.
Third year as well?
Yeah, first year.
First year, okay.
First year, so just trying to figure it out and learn the reins a little bit, but it's definitely, I wouldn't give up curling in a heartbeat for it. It's good balance and just figuring it out, but it's
Absolutely. You
working
need
out
good
well.
balance on the ice.
Yeah.
I can definitely understand being biomechanics aficionados, soon to be, I mean, groin pulls and whatnot, slipping on the ice could definitely be a travesty to your playing on the ice, correct?
Yeah, it can be.
It can hurt a little bit, yeah. I've done a couple of slips. It's not fun. It hurts a little bit. I want to thank you ladies very much for joining me. One more question before I leave you. The 2 game as opposed to the 4 game. If you had to play 2, would you? Or do you enjoy more the 4 game?
Like, are you thinking the mixed doubles?
Yes, the mixed,
Right.
I'm talking about, mixed doubles. The 2 versus the 4, yeah.
Well, I really enjoy like the team events because it's a little bit more competitive. Right now, I guess mixed doubles is up on the rise, and there's a lot more events coming for it. But it's definitely 2 different games completely. I haven't got really comfortable with the mixed doubles yet, but for now, I'm just sticking with the team. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to try and to try out and see how different things work and stuff like that. Definitely more of a fan of the team just because of the competitiveness and everything like that, but it's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, same for me. Like, I haven't had a lot of experience with mixed doubles, but I find it really enjoyable, just really different, and trying to figure it all out. But yeah, just the 4 right now is working well.
The teamwork makes the dream work with Team Zacharias. Coming back with a little bit of cash in Grand Forks and maybe some more this weekend in St. Vital at the curling club there. If you want to wish them luck, do go and join them. Check them out on Twitter. Team Zacharias, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they have wonderful, great stories. We didn't talk about the Blue Moose. We'll leave that one for next time.
At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.